If you're thinking about moving to the East Bay, but you don't even know where to start looking, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through a map of the whole East Bay. And after 23 years of selling homes here, I can tell you the areas people ask me about first are almost never the ones they end up buying in. By the end of this video, you'll be able to narrow down the entire East Bay down to 2 or 3 areas that actually fits you. So first, what actually counts as the East Bay? If you're coming in from the Peninsula or the South Bay or San Francisco, this side of the water can feel like a giant blur. My wife grew up in San Francisco, and when we met, the East Bay might as well have been, another country for her. Here's the simple version. The East Bay is anything east of this water, up north from Richmond all the way down south to Fremont and stretching inland to Livermore and Antioch and the Delta cities. That's 2 counties, basically several dozen cities. They have completely different geography, completely different climates, and completely different vibes. And by the way, for you people out here in San Francisco, Oakland and Berkeley, those are just a small part of the East Bay, okay? Because a lot of people from San Francisco think that Berkeley and Oakland are the only cities in the East Bay. So most areas that I'm about to show you, you probably haven't, I've never even driven through it. That's exactly why we're going to be doing this on the map today. Okay, I've broken this down to segments. So segment 1 are the roads. So before we talk about a single city, you need to understand the freeways, because in the East Bay, the freeway you live nearby basically decides your life. I've had clients fall in love with a house, and then when I tell them, it's like, hey, check out the commute in the morning and see how it feels. And then next thing you know, they're calling me and saying, look, we got to look at another city. I can't stand that commute. So the first one is this one, the 880, the Interstate 880, or we call it the Nimitz. It runs north and south right along the water from Oakland all the way down to San Leandro, Hayward, Union City, Fremont, and Newark. Here's what you need to know about the 880. This is the workhorse of the East Bay, and it's also the freeway that everyone loves to complain about. Trucks, port traffic from Oakland, all of it. If your job is off of 880, that's great, live near it. But if it's not, you want to think twice before you buy a home where the 880 is your only way out. Next up is Interstate 580. This is this one over here. This one matters to me most or matters to me personally because it runs right through Castro Valley where I live. So 580 right here comes out of Oakland through San Leandro, the hills of San Leandro, and then Castro Valley, and then over the hill to the Tri-Valley. That would be Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, and then it just keeps going to the Central Valley. If you hear people talk about the Dublin grade or the Altamont Pass, that's the 580 right here. It's the main east-west connection in the southern half of the East Bay, and the interchange where 580 meets 238 right here. That's one of the busiest. Spots in the whole region. Okay, then we've got Interstate 680. This is the spine of the Tri-Valley. This would be right here. That is 680. It runs north and south on the other side of the hills through Walnut Creek, which is right here. And then you go Danville, Alamo, Danville, Pleasanton, all the way down to Fremont, all the way to the South Bay, to San Jose, to Santa Clara. So if you want to live in the Tri-Valley, 680 is going to be your, lifeline, basically. And I'll be, I'm always honest with you. The stretch over the Sunol grade at rush hour is no joke. Especially when it's raining, forget about it. I've been stuck there for 3 hours. Okay, next up is Highway 24 right here in Oakland. And let me just show you. Here's one a lot of newcomers don't know about Highway 24. The Highway 24 and the Caldecott Tunnel right here. The Caldecott Tunnel, it punches through the Oakland Hills, and connects Oakland to La Morinda. That would be Lafayette, Moraga, and Orinda. That tunnel is more than just a tunnel. It's basically the dividing line, and I'll explain that what I mean by that later. So this is La Morinda right here. So this is 24 right here. And quick local hack, if you see here, Highway 13 turns through Oakland, the Oakland Hills, like the Montclair area, and it connects to 24, 580 and 24. So you can cut through that and go to 24 and off to 680. It can save you real time if you're going around Oakland. Now, let's talk about the bridges, because a lot of us commute and we use either San Mateo or the Bay Bridge. So you got four bridges. The Richmond San Rafael Bridge, this one, which connects Contra Costa or Richmond all the way to Marin County. And then you have the Bay Bridge, the Oakland San Francisco Bay Bridge. And then you have the next one, which is the San Mateo Hayward Bridge or San Mateo Bridge. And then finally the Dumbarton Bridge, which connects Newark and Fremont to basically Palo Alto and Menlo Park. So here's the pattern that you'll see all day long. People who work in San Francisco or look to Oakland or the island of Alameda, and people in the 24 corridor. People who work in the Peninsula look at Hayward, Castro Valley, or San Leandro because the San Mateo Bay Bridge is just right there. And then the people who work in the big tech campuses like Palo Alto or Mountain View, they pretty much congregate over here because it's closer to the Dumbarton Bridge. And one more thing, and honestly, this might be the most important one, and that is BART. This is where the East Bay beats almost every suburb in the market, especially here in California. LA doesn't have it, San Diego doesn't have it. We actually have trains. Like, look at this BART map that I have here. This basically is the whole of the East Bay. You've got Richmond, Antioch, Dublin, all the way to, all the way to Berryessa. All of them funnels into Oakland, which then funnels into San Francisco. If you buy a house near the BART station or a BART station, you may never sit in traffic. Like, we live in Castro Valley, and every time we go into San Francisco, I rarely drive. So if you have a job that sits right next to a BART line, that basically opens your full commute or your house shopping anywhere in this BART line. The only question is how far or how long do you want to be on the riding on the train? Because if you were to, let's say, pick San Jose all the way here in Berryessa, and you work in San Francisco, let's say at the Embarcadero, that's going to be a very long ride and an expensive ride at that. Okay, now the single most important thing in this entire video, you see this, this is kind of like a ridge right here. And that's the ridge of hills running, up and down the map. The East Bay it's not one place. It's kind of like two places. And these hills are the dividing line. West of the hills are the west of the hills is going to be 880 along the water. You got kind of like you got the older East Bay. Basically, you have Oakland, Alameda, San Leandro, Hayward, Fremont. These towns were built decades ago with older housing, more character, more diversity, more urban energy, and you're closer to San Francisco, the Peninsula, and Silicon Valley. So again, this is this one, okay? Now, east of the hills, you've got the Tri-Valley, which is this, and which is Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, and San Ramon. And then you got newer construction around here in the Walnut Creek area, Concord, Pleasanton, and all the way to the Delta. And yes, the summers here can be hot. It can be 62 degrees like down here in San Leandro. And then when you get over to Livermore, it's like 95 degrees. The same exact day, the same exact time. By the way, that's not an exaggeration. That's just like a regular Tuesday. And people identify with their side of the hill. Ask someone from, let's say, like, ask someone from Alameda and someone from Danville. If you ask them where they're from, they're either gonna name that one specific area. They're not gonna say I'm from the East Bay. They're gonna say I'm from the island of Alameda or I'm from Danville. Hey, by the way, everything that I'm covering up over here, the cities, the communities, the school districts, the price ranges, I put all of it in a free East Bay relocation guide. It's the same thing I send my own clients before we ever look at before we ever look at a house. The link is going to be in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about the 880 corridor. So this is the 880 corridor right here. So it stretches from Oakland all the way down to Fremont on to the south. Okay, let's talk about Oakland first. Oakland is not one market. You got places like Rockridge, Montclair, and the whole Oakland Hills. They are a different world with different price ranges. The homes are great, the homes are beautiful, the neighborhoods are beautiful, got beautiful views basically. If Oakland is in your list or is on your list, that's a conversation, not a circle on a map. If you want urban energy, restaurants, culture, the shortest possible basically trip to San Francisco, nothing else beats this area in the East Bay. Next up, I want to talk about this Alameda, and this one surprises a lot of people. It's an island. It's actually an island right here. It's next to Oakland. You got Victorian homes, flat tree-lined streets, a beach, and this one's important if you work in San Francisco. There's a ferry that takes you to San Francisco. This is pretty popular with families, and it has one of the strongest, small town feel anywhere in the Bay Area. Now, there's a catch though, because it's an island. The catch is getting on and off the island. You're going through the tubes or over a small bridge. And by the way, it's not the bargain that people expect. Alameda is also a very competitive market. But if the ferry commute works for your job, Alameda is one of the best lifestyle places in the entire East Bay. Next up, just south of Oakland is San Leandro. I actually have a video about San Leandro versus Castro Valley, so you should check it out. Now, this is a value play closest to the city. You've got two BART stations, a marina, solid older neighborhoods with a lot of mid-century homes, and a wide set of price ranges. I would honestly say that this is like a real value right here. Now, the cons on this is that the schools are a little bit of a hit or miss. So it's really dependent on the neighborhood that you pick over here in San Leandro. So this is a town where the exact street matters if school matters to you. A lot of my Castro Valley buyers started their search in San Leandro, and a lot of San Leandro buyers started in Oakland. Then I think we got for me, the most misunderstood city in the East Bay, Hayward. Hayward's big. It stretches from the bay all the way to the hills. See here, the bay over here, and then you have the hills over here. By Cal State East Bay, by the way. As you can imagine, the neighborhood feels completely different from what you get over here than what you get over here. So there are affordable places in Hayward, and there are very expensive places in Hayward like Stonebray, Bailey Ranch. That's what I was trying to remember. So for me, I think Hayward is one of the most affordable real cities left in the inner East Bay, which puts you right in the center of everything. You're close to the Peninsula, you're close to San Francisco, you're close to Silicon Valley. So if that matters to you, that's very important. Now the con, and I did a whole walkthrough video on this. And that is Hayward's reputation is running a little bit behind in terms of the reality of what it's like living here. Schools are patchy. That is true. It's they've got some challenges. Crime when it comes to petty crime like auto theft and stuff like that. It's a little bit higher than most. Now, if you want a full breakdown, I did also a video of that. I think I have one that's comparing Hayward and Castro Valley. And like I said, I had a Castro Valley or a Hayward walkthrough where I walked through the so-called most dangerous parts of Hayward. Okay, as we head further south, we are on to Fremont and Newark. Fremont is big. It's got about 200,000 people, and it's really five or six old towns that are stitched together. So here's why one of the biggest things that people move here. It's the schools. The Mission San Jose area has some of the top rated schools in the state. And the prices over there, the house prices, it reflects it. And also, by the way, it's also competitive. Now, other parts of Fremont are a little more attainable. When I mean by that, it's just a little bit less expensive. So again, you got the BART, you got the Dumbarton Bridge. So your access to the South Bay and the Peninsula, that's a big thing. The con is exactly what makes it work. It's big, it's spread out, and it can feel like a place that you live rather than a place that you're from. Meaning there's a lot of new people that's always coming in there. So I didn't really cover Union City. Union City also has BART, and it's obviously it's right in the middle of Hayward and Fremont in everything, in location, in price, and schools. And also Newark, which is right next to Fremont. Now let's move on to what I call the kind of like the 24 area, which is La Morinda all the way to Walnut Creek, that Caldecott Tunnel that I mentioned to you earlier. Let's talk about La Morinda first. That's the local nickname for the three towns, Lafayette, Moraga, and Orinda, which is very, very competitive. If you watch my videos about other markets, every metro has that one area with the best schools, the big lots, and the price to match. And in the East Bay, this is it, La Morinda. The area kind of gives you that rural feel, oak trees, the hills, but you're still really, if you think about it, you're still very close to downtown San Francisco, but again, in a totally different world. Both of them, or the La Morinda area, they have two BART stations, Orinda and Lafayette. And the cons here are very simple. The entry price is expensive. We're talking about like $2 million, and inventory is always tight because nobody ever wants to leave. And if you want nightlife, they don't have it. This is not it if you want nightlife around here. If we keep going east, you're gonna hit you're going to hit Walnut Creek, which has quietly become the downtown of the entire 680 corridor. Broadway Plaza Shopping, Main Street, they have real restaurant scenes, BART station, and the housing, their house, the real estate, basically, again, it spans the range of from urban, kind of like city life living with your condos to mega mansions up in the hills or at the foothills of Mount Diablo. Pleasant Hill is another area that's people often miss Pleasant Hill, and when they hear Pleasant Hill, they think it's not as expensive as the other places. But make no mistake, Pleasant Hill is really expensive and really competitive also. But what you get in Pleasant Hill, a lot bigger lots, a lot bigger houses. So the cons here, you're paying for all that amenities, and the traffic around downtown on the weekend. Whoa, that's real. So as we move on down to the 680, you have Alamo, Danville. This part of the East Bay, there's no BART station over there. Let me show you the map. See here? This is the 880 corridor right here. And this is the 580 corridor. And this is the 24 corridor. And this is the 80 corridor. So 680 is right here. There is no BART station over here. So if you live here, which is some of the most expensive and some of the most uh, the best neighborhoods in the East Bay, you're gonna need your Range Rover. You gotta keep up with the Joneses. So we move on to the Tri-Valley. So the Tri-Valley is like San Ramon, Dublin, Pleasanton, and Livermore. So amongst these three, or amongst those cities, Livermore is kind of like the cheapest. It used to be a city that not a lot of people wanted to move over there because it's so far. But nowadays, people are discovering it. It's so nice. They have the Livermore Wine Valley. They have Del Val. I mean, basically, lots of open space over there. But be warned, on the summer, the heat is on. It's really hot over there. And then let's work our way back. Oh, by the way, 84 right here. I didn't talk about 84 because it's not really a major. It's not really a major freeway. At least not to my mind. If you live over here, somewhere here, and you commute down to Silicon Valley, this is another artery that you can take, or another freeway that you can take. But again, be warned, because this also gets traffic, especially this corner right here. Oh man, I've been stuck in that corner several times. It's not fun. But anyway, let's go back to Dublin. Dublin is a lot more newer houses. I also have a video about Dublin, on the channel, where I think it was Castro Valley versus Dublin again. So check that video out if you want newer housing stock, newer neighborhoods, so newer amenities, newer shopping areas. Dublin, Dublin is a good choice, and they have amazing schools over there. But as with anything in the Bay Area, you're gonna pay for it because it's also expensive in Dublin. Pleasanton is huge. It's one of the most popular cities in the East Bay. They have another one of those real downtowns. They have a main street wherein you got shops, and on the weekends you get the farmers market. And they also have Fourth of July parades over there. But it's not just one type of living. I mean, downtown living is completely different from, let's say, if you were at Ruby Hills. Pleasanton has something to offer for different types of families. But again, this is more on the higher price range. Most of the median home price around that, in Livermore at this time, which is like 2026 right now, it's about 1.6 million for kind of like a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And then, did I talk about Dublin? I think I talked about Dublin. Dublin is a little bit, like I said, they have a lot more newer communities over in Dublin. So if you want newer housing stock, that's where you should go. And it's the same thing with San Ramon. San Ramon has two sides: the older side, and also kind of like the Gale Ranch side, which is the up in the hills. This entire area, it's a nice planned community. Your Gale Ranch or Windermere, this is up in the hills. And then down here, this is still San Ramon. It's the older part of San Ramon, but it's not bad. Okay, I mean, it just looks older, but you got big houses also on big lots. But basically, if you wanted newer housing stock, this is where you would go. Okay, I think the only thing that I haven't covered is the Antioch area, the Delta area. So this is still part of the East Bay. So you got Bay Point, Pittsburgh, Antioch, and then you got Oakley, Brentwood, Bethel Island, and then Discovery Bay. Discovery Bay is not showing up. So this is your Delta region. Now, the good thing about the Delta region is, let's say you work over in Livermore, or say you work in Dublin or Pleasanton, because Dublin and Pleasanton and San Ramon, they have a big corporate parks, business parks. You can take Highway 4 over here to cross over. Now, like everything else around the Bay Area, this can get also backed up during rush hour. So just be mindful of that. And in this area, you will find some of the, I was gonna say cheap, but some of the less expensive houses in the whole of the East Bay. And there's a reason for that because it is so far away from, let's just be real, it's so far away from San Francisco, far away from the Peninsula, and far from Silicon Valley. But if let's say you work from home, then that's an amazing place to live, especially Brentwood. Brentwood, that's an area over there that I really like because the way they develop that, they're not just like flopping subdivisions. They've basically a very good planned urban community or planned urban development (PUD). That's the right term, I guess. I want to talk about two, three hidden gems that not a lot of people, um, not a lot of people know about. Hidden gem number one would be Diablo. Well, that's how some people call it, Diablo. So it's Diablo. So this is one of the most expensive um, piece of area, whatever you call it, land in the East Bay. It's right next to Alamo in Danville. If you think Danville and Alamo is already expensive, this one is more expensive. Okay, so that's it's nice over there, and you're completely like you're kind of landlocked and surrounded by your own paradise. The next one, the other hidden gem, this is another one that not a lot of people miss, and this is personally my choice if money was no object, and that would be Piedmont, California. This is a small little city or town right inside of Oakland. It's literally surrounded by Oakland. Once you get to Oakland, look at this. Let me show you. This is like a street view of Piedmont. That's a house in Piedmont. So if you like, okay, so I don't know where I dropped myself, but anyways, Piedmont is one of those places that if money was no object, that's a nice place to live in. Great schools, amazing neighborhood. The architecture of the houses over there are amazing. What's the next one? Here's another hidden gem that most people don't know about. In Richmond, there's a place called Point Richmond. This is Point Richmond, this little tract of land that's a small part of Richmond. So this whole thing is Richmond, okay? As you can see here, Point Richmond is by the water. Right across from Point Richmond, this is Marin. So you have Tiburon and Belvedere and houses. In Tiburon, Belvedere, you're looking at 3, 4 million onwards. Okay. But over here, you get the same view. You get the view of the Richmond San Rafael Bridge. You get a view of the Bay Bridge, this one. You get a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. You get Treasure Island, you get Angel Island, and like I said, you get a view of Tiburon and Belvedere. Probably, a little bit over 1 million for all of those views. You can get a house over there for that. So if you want water views and some of the best views in bay views in the entire Bay Area, this is a location that you should really look into. Now, personally, I'm not really a big water person, but hey, you know what? I would not mind living in one of the houses over there. And housing stock over there can get a little bit iffy. There are some small houses, but you still get the views that I mentioned. And then there are big houses wherein they completely redo their veranda or their balcony so that way they're facing the water. But that's one thing that you need to check out if you ever wanted all those bridge views. So I'd like to end this video by going back to Castro Valley. This is like a shameless plug. Castro Valley, if if you work in San Francisco, if you work in the Peninsula, if you work in Silicon Valley, I believe that this is kind of like one of the best places to live because one, you got the BART station. So if you don't want to drive, you can take the BART station. Second, if you work in the Peninsula, you can take the not the Bay Bridge, the San Mateo Bridge. And if you work down in Alto Menlo Park, take 880 and take the Dumbarton Bridge. And if you work in Silicon Valley, there you go. So from San Francisco, from to San Francisco, it's about probably 45 minutes with no traffic. To San Jose, probably about the same, maybe 50 minutes. And then to the Peninsula, about a half an hour. And then on top of that, we have a good school district also. So that's my little shameless plug of where I live. I hope you like this video. If there's anything that you want to know, send me a text, send me an email or call me. Let's talk about the one or two things that you absolutely want to have, or one or two things that you don't want, and then I can help you narrow down a location where you and your family can look at it. We can look at it, and you can decide for yourself if that's the right one. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.